Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the troublesome reign of King John, and today we get to hear from Meloun in Act 2, Scene 5. So the last time we saw Meloun, he was hanging out with Louis the Dauphin, who, remember, has been summoned to England by the English nobles who want to overthrow John or oust King John because they don't like what he's been doing. And Louis, upon his arrival in England, was not really met with armies. Pretty much every town that he went to, people were just laying down their arms and sort of welcoming him. So by the time he got to the English nobles that had summoned him, he was like, this was super easy to get here and this was great. And oh, it's not that I don't trust you, but I would love to hear you say the words swearing fealty to me. So the English lords do, and then they go off to prepare for battle, whatever. But Louis is then left with the French lords, including Meloun, and thinking, these English lords were traitors to John. Actually, they are traitors to John right now because they're working with the French. So what's to stop them from becoming traitors to Louis? So Louis and his French nobles, including Meloun, all agree that once John is ousted, they need to kill all of these English nobles that have been helping the French. So they're all aligned to that, but they're like, let's not let them in on the secret, pretend that they're our friends for right now, because they kind of sort of are until we win. So at the top of Act 2, Scene 5, battle is going on. We're somewhere near Bury St. Edmunds, and Meloun comes in. He finds the English nobles that had been helping Louis the Dauphin. He finds them, and he kicks off the scene saying, "Oh, I am slain. Nobles, Salisbury, Pembroke, my soul is charged. Hear me, for what I say concerns the peers of England and their state. Listen, brave lords, a fearful mourning tale to be delivered by a man of death. Behold these scars, the dole of bloody Mars, are harbingers from nature's common foe, citing this trunk to tell his prison house. Life's charter, lordings, lasteth not an hour, and fearful thoughts, forerunners of my end, bids me give physic to a sickly soul. O peers of England, know you what you do? There's but a hair that sunders you from harm. The hook is baited and the train is made, and simply you run doting to your deaths. But lest I die and leave my tale untold, with silence slaughtering so brave a crew, this I aver: if Louis win the day, there's not an Englishman that lifts his hand against King John to plant the heir of France, but is already damned to cruel death. I heard it vowed, myself amongst the rest, swore on the altar aid to this edict. Two causes, lords, makes me display this drift. The greatest, for the freedom of my soul that longs to leave this mansion free from guilt. The other, on a natural instinct, for that my grandsire was an Englishman. Misdoubt not, lords, the truth of my discourse. No frenzy, nor no brain-sick idle fit. Be well advised, and wotting what I say, pronounce I here before the face of heaven that nothing is discovered but a truth. 'Tis time to fly. Submit yourselves to John. The smiles of France shade in the frowns of death. Lift up your swords, turn face against the French, expel the yoke that's framed for your necks. Back, warmen, back, embowel not the climb. Your seat, your nurse, your birthday's breathing place that bred you, bears you, brought you up in arms. Be not so ingrate to dig your mother's grave. preserve your lambs, and beat away the wolf. My soul hath said, contrition's penitence lays hold on man's redemption for my sin. Farewell, my lords. Witness my faith when we are met in heaven, and for my kindness, give me grave room here. My soul doth fleet, world's vanities, farewell. And then he dies. So this is Meloun switching sides at the very end. Remember, he was there when Lewis was like, we got to get rid of all of the English lords. And now he doesn't want to die with that secret. So he goes running to the English lords and he's like, you have to listen to me. I'm dying. I have to tell you my tale. You are doomed. You are going to die. If Lewis wins this battle, if Lewis wins this war and actually ousts John, he has sworn to kill all of you. I was there. I saw it happen. I swore to help it happen. And he's like, there's two reasons now why I'm telling you this. One is I don't want to die with the guilt of this. I don't want to die knowing that I could have saved you. But also, my grandfather was an Englishman. So for me to help plot for Englishmen to die is not a great thing. So he's like, please, please, please listen to me. I swear to you, I swear in front of heaven, I swear on my deathbed that this is true. You need to get away from Lewis. You need to switch back and help John fight Lewis off, because if you stay with Lewis, you are going to die. You shouldn't be fighting against England. You shouldn't be fighting against your birthplace. The only way that you are going to save yourselves is if you fight with John against Lewis. And then he's like, okay, I told my tale, and please look on me fondly when we meet in heaven, and please give me a proper burial, and now I die. So he dies right then and there in front of Salisbury and Pembroke and all of them. And they sort of look at each other and they're like, do we believe this? Do we want to believe this? Do we think this is true? And they ultimately decide that they do think that he's telling the truth. So they decide that they are going to go back and side with King John. So we've got English nobles flip-flopping sides all over the place. But Act 2, Scene 5 ends with the English nobles deciding that they are going to ditch Lewis and go back to John. So in Shakespeare's version, there is a similar scene to this, but again, with a slightly different focus. It's like Act 5, Scene 4, I believe, somewhere around there, because there's another little scene that happens in between the last one and this one where King John is just not doing super well. So in Shakespeare's version, it starts out with the English nobles sort of hearing that John isn't doing very well, like physically, he's not doing very well. He had to be taken off the battlefield. And then Meloun comes in and says, Lewis plans to kill all of you if he wins, and ousts John. So the English nobles decide that they will once again go back and take King John's side as opposed to Louis the Dauphin's side. So again, same end result, just slightly different way in which it is told. And Meloun maybe saving the day for some of the English nobles who are super crazy wishy-washy. But anyway, we are getting towards the end of this play. We are going to see some sort of resolution to all of this coming up soon. So come on back tomorrow as we work towards that. I'll see you then. Mwah.